In the opening shot, a tribesman walks through a rainforest with a child from the same tribe. They hear a loud rumbling noise, a bulldozer plowing through the forest. At Columbia University in New York City in the United States, we meet Justine, a college student. With her roommate Casey, they sit through a lecture on the cruel traditions placed on women in African tribes, which horrifies Justine. Later, the two notice a group of janitors sitting on a hunger strike to obtain health insurance. The girls think these types of groups are stupid. After classes, Justine is invited by another student named Jonah to check out an activist group led by Alejandro. His cause is for the tribe in the Peruvian jungle. Justine comments about the group starving themselves through the jungle for their cause, which Alejandro takes offense to. He orders Justine to leave. A few days later, Justine approaches Alejandro to apologize and decides she wants to join the cause. Another few days later, the two of them, plus a full group of activists, including Jonah, Alejandro's girlfriend Kara, Amy's girlfriend Samantha, Lars, and Daniel head off on a flight, partially funded by Justine's dad to Peru. Once the group arrives in Peru, they take a boat through the jungle toward their destination. They stop so Justine and Lars can use the bathroom, and Lars almost gets his penis bitten by a tarantula, and he runs back to the boat. When the group finds the bulldozers, they set off an explosive to stop their acts. As Alejandro records the militia in their actions against the jungle, one of the men holds Justine at gunpoint. Alejandro gets it on the video to show off the internet what actions these people are willing to take against others, all while Justine cries. The man takes the gun away, and he and his men arrest the group. The group is sent home on their plane. They celebrate their victory while Justine is traumatized from the incident and angry that the others are ready to let her get shot for their cause. Jonah announces that their video has been blowing up all over social media. Suddenly, the plane's engine blows out, causing the pilots to lose control and head for a crash landing. The plane comes apart, sending at least two other people flying out. The plane crashes, killing both pilots. The man that flew out got impaled, and the woman that fell out landed in a tree, badly injured and nearly dying. The rest of the group tries to move somewhere safe until they see some of the villagers in the forest. Kara asks them for help, but she gets an arrow in her neck. The others run for it, but they get hit by tranquilizing darts from unseen natives. Alejandro tries to remove the arrow from Kara's neck, only for her to get another one in her head. When the group wakes up, they are taken across the river by a cannibal headhunter to the village where the rest of the tribe resides. They're all put in wooden cages except for Jonah. He gets fed some kind of liquid before being laid down and having his limbs held down by some villagers. The village elder walks over to Jonah and holds a spike over his face. She digs the spike into his right eye and gouges it out before eating it in front of the villagers and Jonah's friends. The elder takes his other eye and tongue and then has Jonah's limbs hacked off before he is finally decapitated. The others are horrified and cover their eyes. Jonah's remains are later cooked and soon eaten by the rest of the villagers. Alejandro determines that the villagers think they are the enemy. Lars mentions he can smell Jonah being cooked, making Amy sick. She throws up and then has a massive bowel movement in the cage, making the others sick while the village children laugh and mock Amy. Justine tries to appease one of the children by playing with her flute necklace that belonged to her mother. The child likes the music, but the cannibal headhunter and other native warriors arrive and pull Justine, Amy, and Samantha out of the cages. They take the lady's panties off, and the elder takes a spike similar to what she used on Jonah. She puts it up Amy and Samantha's vaginas, then up Justine's. The elder breaks Justine's hymen, proving to the tribe that she is a virgin. They take Justine into a hut and cover her in some white powder before returning her to the cage. Any attempt at escaping the cages leads to the group getting shot with darts by the watchers. They create a distraction that allows Samantha to climb out and look for help. Hours later, the villagers bring the group bowls with liquid and meat scraps. Amy drinks from the bowl and sees a biohazard symbol, which she recognizes as one of Samantha's tattoos. Then she sees the children wearing patches of flesh with the rest of Samantha's tattoos. Amy then smashes the bowl and slits her throat with a jagged piece. Knowing the villagers will get Amy next, Lars and Daniel stuff a bag of weed down her throat. The village headhunter enters the cage and hacks Amy's corpse to pieces. After she is cooked and consumed, the villagers all get stoned. This allows Justine and Daniel to escape from their cage. Lars tries to follow, but the cynical Alejandro receives him with a dart, so he doesn't die alone. When Lars awakens, he sees two villagers sitting over him with giggles. One villager bites into Lars's arm, but he shoves him away and runs for it. Unfortunately, a large group of villagers attacks him and eats him alive. Justine and Daniel manage to get to a river and find some plane wreckage, and Justine falls into the water and gets swept downriver. When Justine grabs a rock to hold onto, Daniel rescues her by extending a tree branch and bringing her ashore. That evening, they follow the trail of wreckage and finally arrive at the crash site of their plane. They find their GPS, but the battery's dead. They then hear a ringtone from Kara's pocket, whose corpse is hung up alongside the other dead activists. Justine gets Kara's phone out of her pocket, but the villagers show up and dart her and Daniel. Justine awakens back in the village the following day to find the medicine woman covering her nude body in white powder and paint. She is trying to sew Justine's vagina shut as a customary ritual. Daniel is tied to a pole and covered from head to toe in a green mold by the village headhunter. A colony of giant ants starts climbing up his body and biting into him. Before anything else happens to Justine, a child runs and brings the villagers the severed head of a man wearing a hard hat. The other villagers run out to see what other remains are available for consumption. The child with that Justine played the flute necklace shows up and unties Justine's hands. She unties her feet before the medicine woman returns. She blows a special powder into the medicine woman's face when she gets a good opportunity. She rips the bone out of her nose, allowing her to run. She tries to get Daniel, but he's in so much pain that he prefers to die. The child blows the powder in Daniel's face to make him pass out before he cuts Daniel's throat. Alejandro begs Justine to save him, but she leaves him to the villagers. The child leads Justine deep into the forest to escape. She lets the child keep the flute necklace and thanks him for helping her. Justine then runs and finds the militia shooting and killing the villagers. Justine finds the village headhunter lying in the grass after being shot. With the local mercenaries approaching, Justine holds her hands up and states that she's American. The leader orders his men to take Justine away. She is boarded on a chopper to fly home. Upon returning home, Justine testifies as the sole survivor of the crash and denies witnessing any cannibalism. Justine then dreams that Alejandro made it home and that she has monster teeth that she uses to rip out his throat. When she wakes up, she looks out her window and sees activists outside protesting for Alejandro to be returned home. During the closing credits, we hear a phone call between Justine and a woman claiming to be Alejandro's sister. She mentions seeing a surveillance photo of Alejandro still in the jungle. His sister tells Justine that they need to talk.